Hi guys, good morning. So this is C. Nikhil Gupta, and today I will be talking about what are the major domains as a CA fresher that you can join. Right, a complete clarity video. Okay, um, I will go topic. I will completely distinguish all or classify all these domains or subdomains into four parts. First is the core part, that is the core CA work, audit, taxation, financial reporting. Second, I will do the non-core part, but which is highly in demand that CAs join, right? Third is the niche part, and fourth is the advanced roles. Okay, the advanced roles which are evolving and CAs are getting into it because of their uh, the understanding of financials or understanding of numbers, getting vision. Okay, so first of all I would like to tell you what are the major parts of industry, right? The first is the big four. You will already know all of them: Deloitte, EY, KPMG, PwC, right? These four are major places where CAs get recruited. Then is the other big CA firms or small CA firms, that is Protiviti and RSM, GT, BDO. You will get the screenshot of what I am reading. Okay, and then comes to industry. So big four where you work for someone else, right? If you're auditing or you're auditing someone else, if you are preparing financials or preparing financials for someone else. But in industry you're doing your own work. If you're working in Adani, you will be preparing financials of Adani, right? If you are auditing or internal auditing, you will be internal auditing of Adani, right? Into their atmosphere. Now what and next is the BPO, which do the similar kind of work like big four, but they do more of uh, non-core roles or core roles like AP, AR, R2R, or some places doing like data analytics, etc. Right? Like Genpact, we have Accenture, we have Wipro, we have TCS. Now next is the banking, very famous, where we have two major roles: credit management, like credit manager role, relationship manager role, and we have also treasury. The banks are like HDFC, ICICI, and Kotak. Then we have some asset management companies, which are very big companies, which have very small chunk of hiring. That is like we have D Shaw, we have Barclays, we have some other players which don't actually recruit from say like BlackRock, but they indirectly recruit like CAs or rankers or some people who already have an experience in that. Or next we have fintech and startups, which are quite evolving and quite rewarding in terms of compensation, like PhonePe, and we have Zepto and Zerodha, right? Now, what is the difference in all these is in Big Four, once you have a tag, if you have done your articleship in a small firm, getting a big four tag is very good. I'm telling you, directly getting industry, it's more preferable to get into a big four first, work for 1 or 2 years in your preferred domain. Suppose you worked in IDT for 2 years, or 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 years, and then you switch to industry. You will have much better terms of compensation, experience, and understanding of that, because industry is very big, or Adani is very big, right? You cannot understand it by directly putting it. But once you are in big four, you are working for someone else on the very core technical part, and once you have that understanding of that thing, you can completely understand the business process of that company, right? You will be able to better, I would say, contributing to the role. Okay, so that's why I will always prefer, although big four work is maybe sometimes it is very hectic or something, but I don't think, but I understand that of course it is at peak time, but I understand that industry is not exception. There are also roles or teams. It completely depends on your manager, the work culture they have been following, not even the company, the team manager. I've seen in the same company some people are having very better work culture, or because of the team manager, right? He is the person who is maintaining that. So don't think like that. Try, if you have not experience, if you are not getting a big industry directly, you can first go into big fours. Don't hesitate to do that. And then we have the banking, right? Banking, of course, the main roles, which once you get into banking, it's very easy to move through, because you have short answers to each and everything. If once you are in HDFC, after 2 years you plan to move out and you move to some other banks, and they have very similar roles in every bank. Maybe if you are working in Adani and moving to Reliance, there can be exceptions, like they different kind of work, but in banks it is very similar, it's very standardized. So if you are moving to a role in banking, it's very easy. And I am seeing people who got into banking 5 years or 10 years before, and they are now at very good places, because as a CA you have a higher understanding of each and everything from a bank's perspective, from finance perspective. So I think so that can be a good thing. Of course there can be client facing roles, but I think so at some particular point of time you need to develop those skills, like soft skills, communication skills, presentation skills, right? Influencing skills, personal branding, right? All these need to be built at some point of time. So I don't think so you should not avoid any actually of one of these industries. Okay, once so and now we have the main part, that is what are the domains we have right now in CAs. These are the major domains. There can be some domains which I missed out, so please tell me in the comments. So first of all, first is the core CA work. Okay, the core CA work which CAs has been doing since inception, like when the IC started, right? IC started. So in core audit roles, I majorly have domains, like 4 domains. One is the audit, second is financial reporting, right? Third is DT, and fourth is IDT. I understand there can be some others, but yeah. So in auditing we have 4 things. One is Indian domestic. Let us start audit. Now in start audit we have 2 parts. Like one is that you are working on an Indian company. You are working on Reliance. It's an Indian company, right? You will be visiting their offices, doing their start audit, and there can be peak times after April or May, or of course after every quarter close. But this work you will get in Big Fours, right? If you join Big Four or Big C firms, you will get their work. Then is a global GDS. Now what is the difference in domestic and GDS is, in domestic you will be auditing or working for the Indian clients, and in GDS you will be working on the foreign clients who have outsourced their work to India. Like suppose there is KPM, there is a company named suppose Apple in US. Now there is higher labor charges or salaries in US, so they outsource their work to the CAs of India for their work, which can be outsourced, which is highly critical, or less I would say less research intensive work, right? So that's how. So I have heard some of the people saying that we don't get that good work that we do in Indians, because you have complete understanding. You have complete understanding of whole financials in Indian, but in domestic you don't. In global you don't get that. In some time you are focusing on just one revenue, and you're doing revenue for each and every company, right? But okay, you can do that. These are 2 things, and these are very mass recruiters. They recruit at huge chunk for every companies. Then we have internal audit. It is I think so internal audit in terms of competition is the highest right now, because there are huge terms of vacancies from Middle East, and we have from APAC also, right? Australian. These companies are actually hiring for internal audit experience roles, right? So and industry also compensate them very well for internal audit roles. So if you are someone who wants to work into audit but don't get into start audit, internal audit is a good option. Then we have forensic audit. It is evolving. There are upcoming vacancies for that, but majorly try to get into Big Fours or Big C firms only for forensic audit first, okay? Because they can give you better exposure in terms of understanding of all that, because it's a new way. You are not doing core work. And I say financial reporting is basic work that you need to prepare balance sheet and profit and loss every month, every quarter, and every year of the company. This work is done by Big Fours, industry, and BPOs, all of them. Then we have IFRS specific reporting also coming on, like IFRS 15, IFRS 16, IFRS 109. They are specific roles. We will be working on only this Ind AS or this IFRS, right? So these are very specific roles, and you will get them easily on LinkedIn. Then we have MIS reporting coming now, because now making financials is not a big deal. You have ERPs to do that. Lots of automation going on. Now you need to understand those financials and present it to the management, right? So that's why MS reporting, you need to learn Power BI, you need to learn Tableau, you need to learn Excel dashboards or advanced Google Sheets, etc. These are the tools you should learn for these. For auditing, I don't think so you need any extra skills on that. You already have all the understanding of auditing in your CA course. You just need to revise that and get jobs. Now next, the DT. DT is a very passionate part, because I have seen many people who were into other roles, but they moved to DT and they are happy now, because that is something very research incentive. You get to learn a lot of things, especially when you are in DT on global level, right? Because suppose there is Infosys, who have operations in all over the globe. And Infosys need to file their returns in India, right? And they need to get their taxes from subsidiaries, withholding tax, etc. Lots of things going on at global level, from revenue coming from outside, and there is transfer pricing involved, right? Because we are selling to the US and other countries. So that is something which I have seen that people are learning a lot. You get to know about taxes of other countries also, because you have consultants also from those countries, but you get to work with them. So that's a good role when you are working in companies with DT. But once there is another part also where in Big Four you will work for DT for Indian clients also. So there is also always a big difference between when you're working on an Indian client and a global client. Okay, so I would recommend you should try both. Then we have M&A, taxation, litigation. These are basic things which we have done in articleship also, but at a bigger level. So these are all in Big Four industries. Try in the bigger and bigger companies on the start, because once you join the companies which are not that big, it's very difficult for you to get that same level of compensation from that company. Okay, and then is IDT. There are same things. IDT going for Indian levels and domestic and global. Then we have customs, FTP, and GST compliance and litigation, 2 parts. These also you can go into Big Fours. No additional skills required. Just the things you have read in CA course. You need to revise them and go for the interviews. Just don't fix your domain, but at least have an broad idea which are the things you want to do in your life, right? Which is the domain you would prefer always. And for off-campus placements, how to get off-campus placements, I've already put on a video. You can just follow that same strategy for any role or any company you want to join, right? Next, we have the non-core roles, which are highly in demand, and CAs are joining it a lot. Suppose you see ICICI, they have always like 1400, 1500 vacancies every campus, right? The biggest recruiter in ICI campus. So they have majorly 3 roles, 4 roles, like relationship manager, credit manager. What is relationship manager, credit manager? There are already videos on channel. There is a video on channel like do CAs need to join a bank or not? So that is a good video. You just listen that and you will get complete understanding of why banking is good, and why as a CA you should join banking, and in which cases you should understand that. And like last we have the BPO, and it includes Genpact, Accenture, and Wipro, TCS. They do R2R, AP, AR. R2R is basically financial reporting for global people. Okay, record to report. And then we have ERP consulting also. There's also niche, not niche profile, but a non-core profile where CAs are getting recruited a lot. With these same companies like these Infosys, Genpact, all these do ERP consulting also. Even Big Fours also do ERP consulting. And ERP consulting have 2 parts. One is the supporting role, and second is the supporting role and implementation part. So suppose I am Apple and I was working on suppose SAP, and now I want to move to some another ERP, suppose MS Dynamics. So I will hire Deloitte to do that part for me, right? Because MS Dynamics is completely technical, SAP is technical. I want to move my books from this to this ERP, more technical, but here is highly finance specialization required. So that's why CAs are also into it. So this is the implementation part, which is actually a niche profile. I would say implementation is better rewarding and better in terms of learning. But in support profiles, it is like once you have completely done the transition, and now a company has hired you for their in developments. Like in Reliance, I was in in-house development. So Reliance have their own team, but many companies don't into that kind of stuff for the budget constraint. But so they hire some consultants from outside companies. So they, of course, for ERPs, like if you join Infosys, you will get 1 month, 2 months of training in their campus. Same Wipro do that. Every company almost do that when you are joining a new role. So for ERP also, you don't need any additional skills. Of course, if you have prior understanding of SAP or ERPs, it is a better way. In Oracle or SAP, whichever you want to join, it's your choice. I don't think so. They are very much different. Okay, of course, there are different views to that. But I would say don't get into it. You can just join any. ERP consulting is also good. These are those roles which if you are not getting anything, or if you are highly interested into those roles, like you want to learn ERP, you are passionate about ERP or technical stuff. Because see, the traditional accounting is not going to survive anymore, like because of AI and automations. Everything is going to be highly technical. I am seeing CAs who are working on technical stuff only. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for maybe learning some codings or learning some IT stuff, right? Not this world beyond Excel. Okay, so this is the non-core roles which are there. You should consider them. Then we have the advanced roles, which I highly recommend for people. I think so already there is the momentum in the industry, or like there is FP&A, there is FDD, there is valuations, there is pricing, fund accounting, CFO consulting. These are all roles in Big Fours also, industries also, BPO also. Every company is doing that because they are sometimes doing for themselves or doing from other stuff. So I will make a video why you should join, why FP&A is a good profile, and what are the other profiles you can consider related to FP&A. And how FP&A is also of two parts. One is the corporate part and one is the I would say outsourced part. So that is also a big difference. Whenever you're working on the work which is in-house, it is always better. Why? Because in-house you have complete control on everything. If you're working for someone else, the other person will give you work which is non-technical, which is repetitive, right? They will give you that kind of work. But if you're in-house, you are owning everything. If you're making balance sheet Reliance, suppose, so it is your responsibility to make a balance sheet Reliance, right? It is not this is a reviewer or a manager, but it is your responsibility. You are managing each and everything. But if you are making if you are in Big Four and you are making balance sheet of, suppose, Apple, they are not giving you whole data. They're just giving you, okay, just make this total, make these summaries, make these reports, etc, etc, etc. Okay, some mechanical stuff. So you're in corporate. We say the part of the company which is corporate. Like Genpact have two sections. One is corporate, one is processes. That is known as operations, which is actual work, but one is corporate. So always try to join the global. Join the global, or I would say it is my view, the corporate part, for better learnings and better compensation also. Okay, then these all roles are highly defined on YouTube and other channels. But if you want me to make a video on that, just comment it. I will make it. Okay, and fund accounting is some roles which is highly in demand right now, but majorly they recruit who have already an experience in fund accounting. But these are very rewarding, I would say, and you can definitely consider them. Last is the niche roles, which have very less chunk of hiring, but these are actually rewarding. These include IB, investment banking, private equity, hedge fund, venture capitalist, and management consulting like McKinsey, Bain, BCG. Then we have asset management like BlackRock or Bain Capital. Then we have teaching also, which is the niche profile, I would say. Teaching is also a niche profile. Getting into coaching, getting into teaching something, it's a niche thing. You need to take a huge amount of risk, and of course it is rewarding at the same level. So you can also consider these roles, but these roles you should start from some small firms. Not maybe if you're trying for big firms directly, you have prior experience, it will always help. Okay, some boutique firms or right. So this is the major thing, major understanding of domains. If you want to have any understanding, have any questions, just ping me in the comments. And if you want any video on any other topics, tell me in the comments. I have already made video on what are the 5 questions. I will make on technical stuff also. What are the technical things you need to prepare for the interview. Thank you.